the ZBA zoning board of appeals meeting for November 20th, 2024. The first meeting agenda, we have a special bit for 123 Main Street, with that application by AL Prime. They're looking for a special permit pursuant to a section to allow the conversion of an existing signage to provide internal illumination and provide 2 additional LED style price signs on the canopy. So who are we speaking to? You, sir. Come on up. It's pretty friendly. It's pretty casual. Just tell us what you're going to do.
You want me to sit down or you?
Eat whatever you want. Whatever makes you feel comfortable.
You have a copy of the plan or I have it on, I'm using a form, but you can sign for that? Yes.
Yeah.
I've got the copies.
Sorry.
No,
It's
Forget you.
it's actually good. That's okay. You upload everything?
Yeah.
And I moved it. So
Well, I was gonna say, when you can't get onto the internet, like I can't right now, hard copies are good. Thank you very much.
yeah, I get.
There's only one that happened over here.
Okay. And are you, okay,
Okay. We speak. Close before, ask any questions you have, at home, public, if it's their important to, and then discuss them on the board and get them answered. So go fire away.
Okay, good evening. My name is Anthony Goodwin, but by Tony. I'm a professional engineer in the state of Massachusetts and an employee of the AL Prime. With me is Suraj Alabar, who's a new engineer with us and who was involved with the recent renovations at the location, the renovation from the previous repair garage to the convenience store, the new canopy and new fuel tanks and
It's not over. Yes, asked before, so.
So during the process, the fire chief advised us that there was recent changes to the bylaws that allowed by special permit, the elimination of some of the outdoor signs to be internally illuminated. So we'd like to take advantage of that. We submitted this plan. Basically, it's all the signs that are there, and we'd like to have LED pricing. It was a lot easier for the attendant to make changes, especially in bad weather and stuff. And we also have problems when you're doing that in high winds or trying to keep the stuff from flying away or have the right number of animals on hand. So I think that there was a letter sent to the board yesterday from Michael Ampanellis that basically advised whether that the based
Sorry, I got it now. That was my thing. All of a sudden become.
based on the bylaw, we can presently exceed the existing signage that's allowed, site. And recommended that we take a look at the possibility of refiling and going for a variance for the additional signage as opposed to the special permit, which this would not be authorized in the bylaw to. We prefer not to go for a variance. And if the board agrees that it's not within your power to approve what we've proposed, I'm prepared to bend what we're proposing to be something that you can approve. Possibly take some of the signs that's there away and trade it off for the price signs that we'd like to put up. So based on that, if we take a look at the sign A and B, which is the pole sign that's out there now, our prices, where on the plan, it shows Auto Grill and it shows a 24-hour. That's the box where presently there are 3 prices for our grades of gas. And what we were proposing to do was to move the pricing onto the canopy and then have that sign box stay there, but just have that in there. So one of the things that we would propose to do is we'll just eliminate that altogether. That's 17.9 square feet, and each of the LED signs is 12.5 square feet, so it doesn't quite offset. What we're looking at there, one other thing to point out is if we made that the LED sign and made it two-sided, then the sign is only 12.5 square feet. But because we're looking to put it on the canopy, it actually is counted as two signs, so it makes it 25 square feet, even though it's the same signage as it would be on the pole, visible in two directions, the same size. So in actuality, we would be reducing the signage, even though technically it's still being increased. So there's the other thing that we're looking to do that would offset the signage is, if you notice the AL Prime sign there is now 5 foot by 6 foot. And what I would propose to do is make it just a little bit wider, but a lot shorter, so that it would go from 30 square feet that it is now to around 21 square feet. So between the reduction of a removal of that lower sign and the shrinking of the upper sign, even with the new LEDs, we would be decreasing the signage area on the property by 2 square feet. So it would be less than there's there now. And so my question is that something that would sound reasonable and something that we could possibly go, or is that still not going to be acceptable?
Bad decision, I may be chairman. Absolutely no authority more than any of these guys. So I'll get their opinion.
Sounds like me at my home with my kids, dog and wife.
I do like the idea that it's less signage. I think part of it is like, and we see this a lot where it's like, whatever the name of the business is, it has to be like in a bunch of different places. It doesn't really need to. I completely understand the idea that cutting gas prices is probably like the number one thing people want to see. And I think the old letters that we replace out, I've been involved in some other sense. I know they're a pain in the tuscus. Obviously, with today's technology, you want to type in the price and it just shows up on the sign. That I personally, as a board, personally find understand.
Truthfully, with all the traffic there, that's a safety issue. I think you can change the numbers from inside the building rather than having them out there.
Yeah.
Cars and vehicles and that.
The other issue is this town has had a particular dislike of illuminated signs. There are internally signs, especially if they're like left on all night. So we would usually have, even if we do have something, it's going to have a time, if the board wishes to, it's going to have a time restriction to the hours that you're open.
Can I clarify? 2 points there that I forgot. One is that the prime signs on the canopy, we were not planning to eliminate those.
Okay.
The other point is that we are looking to open the station 24 hours. So
It would be on 24.
it would be on 24 hours. I just want to be clear about, right now, it's not open 24 hours, but I think starting next week or the week after, we will be looking to go 24 hours. So the signs would be on.
That's huge. Yeah, the Compton's never had a 24-hour station. I went to Philadelphia.
So the line on the canopy would not be illuminated, but the pricing would be?
The pricing, yes, it's the LED digits, similar to what is at the Imperial or at the BP. BP is green, I think Imperials are red. I don't know what I think ours are gonna be. I think probably a yellow.
BP has some illuminated prices on the canopy.
Not on the canopy. They do have it on, they have the illuminated LEDs on the pole right next to the canopy there.
I'm not sure if those are illuminated on the pole, I just was by there tonight.
They are, they're,
Okay.
get rid of, what's still on there. Like Tony was just describing what I have highlighted, for BP, it's
Yeah.
basically that scenario. But
Yes.
what I have highlighted, the bottom one, that is the digital display of their gas prices.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't know, the only thing I don't know is if those,
Okay, all right, it wasn't illuminated when I went by, but
Yeah,
I can see that, yeah.
Picture of the BP that it does show it illuminated.
I don't know if those get turned off. I haven't noticed if they'll get turned off. any particular time of night.
What, the 24 hours is something that we often ask for and we sometimes try at different locations. And my understanding is that they will start doing that next week. Obviously, if there's no business between 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. where they're open now, I don't think it'll be long-lived. So at that point, we would
Yeah, you gotta make money.
we
out of
would shut down all the lights whenever the station is closed.
In terms of what's pre-existing, so the light, the signs on the stand are pre-existing. Is anything that's on the canopy at the front of the building?
Presently,
pre-existing?
everything is pre-existing except the two LED signs on the
Okay.
canopy.
With multiple grades of gas, how does the LED on the canopy reflect the pricing?
We'd like to have a lot more signs, but normally what we find is that for most customers that are really price conscious, it's the regular price that they're looking at.
Okay.
Someone who's buying premium is not as concerned about the price and they're not necessarily checking the price. So,
So it's not gonna be rotating different.
no, it won't be changed. It'll only change when the price changes. It won't change or flip around or have any other messages or anything like that. It'll be constantly on that one price.
You know how bright they're gonna be? Lumens or,
Off the top of my head, I do not know. There is some ability to adjust that, but usually they're pretty bright because they have to be able to be seen during daylight.
but they're dimmable?
Some of the time they're a little bit dimmable, but it's not really that much.
Well, before we, like you guys, can sort of say, is there any neighbors or any, we always like to make sure we
Yeah,
have questions or concerns.
so I'm Dave Myers on 128 Main Street, big yellow mansard roof historic home, kind of with line of sight to the gas station. So, I mean, I like that the work that you guys have done so far looks nice, definitely. My concern is what's being brought up, right? Internally lit and or bright things 24 hours. I mean, you can kind of soft play the 24 hours, like, well, it might not work, so it might not happen. But what we're talking about here is, illuminated signage for your open hours, and that's, as of now, planned to be 24 hours. For me, I mean, both for the aesthetic of the town, we've talked about not having had a 24-hour business, let alone one, that has bright lights at one of our intersections. And just personally, like from the construction, our house, that's, my, on 2 levels is the bedroom of one of the kids who's having bright lights on all night, right outside the window would not be ideal from our perspective.
128 is located on,
Diagonally from the street, on Main Street. You're standing in front of the gas station, looking at Main Street, diagonally to the right.
so behind the plaza area,
No, the other way towards the liquor store.
or behind the liquor store then, or
No, directly across the street. So 53.
Yeah.
Right near the 52. So it's of us right here.
Directly across the street.
So yeah, if you spin around, go down the road. Where your cursor is, that's.
That's the next one over to the right.
And then the next one down is Mamie.
Okay, so if you flip from there back around, look at the station. If we did not eliminate the sign on the canopy, and if we did not eliminate the sign on the building, open front door, would that improve the situation for?
And you would eliminate that, and that's the freestanding sign, like
The
the,
freestanding sign would be smaller than it is now, but yes, that would be eliminated. It's eliminated now. I mean, right now,
It's got
today,
light
it's not,
shining on it indirectly.
right.
Yeah, I kind of like the look of it now with the light shining on it.
That's how we've done, traditionally, that's how most of our, that's what we have is exterior lighting.
Has less of a like commercialized and, I don't know, like high buzzing, feel, you know what I mean? Just a smaller town feel, I guess.
So I think the hard thing for me is like, like a light, a light can be really annoying at night or it can be really subtle at night. It's I almost have to, I don't know how. This may sound funny. Have you guys put this sort of lights on any of your other stations that, so like I could go look at it at night? We had a light played a few years ago and I went up there and I was like, holy moly. And it was insane.
Well, we have 60 gas stations to Massachusetts, so I'm not sure where the closest is. I think we have one in Framingham that might be fairly close.
Have you have a list or two? I just, if there's one that has that type of sign, I think if you go look at it, you might increase your comfort level or be like, ooh.
Okay, well, I don't know that we have, I'm not sure if we have any other locations where it's not internally. So you can go on our website and find out where all our stations are and then go to visit any one of them. But the other thing we can do is, what if we just didn't eliminate that sign? Just the only elimination would be the LEDs. Would that be something that we could take a look at? We would be increasing the total signage.
Yeah.
We would not be eliminating anything, so, except for the LED pitches themselves.
To me, it does make, the old in the number system, I mean, that's as old as, that's really an old system. And that most LEDs are tunable, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
If we can, I would want to have us be able to put in, that,
Some standard for how bright it is.
yeah, like, and unfortunately, I don't have a light meter, but it's like a subjective thing where we could go down there and say, okay, that's not so bad. You want it well enough that someone, as you get older, your night vision is not as good as somebody who's younger. But if someone can see it, but not,
Yeah, someone driving by can read it, but
right.
As a, like counter proposal, he showed that picture of the BP, right? It has a similar sign to yours, like a two-tier situation. And on the lower piece, there was an LED display of the gas prices. I think, to me, that's less of a chance of an obnoxious feel from our house, where if they're on the canopy, that's like up higher, so it's in that bedroom type of height. And, probably just bigger. And so I think I'd have less concern about having there be LED numbers on the bottom portion of that sign, like the BP.
You guys have that big, the tall sign that you're talking about reducing in size. Can you put it down at the bottom half?
That's what I'm sort of.
Would that achieve the same effect? Because I know I'm looking at gas prices too. I want to have gas.
and
So
my-
one of our concerns here is if you take a look at that sign,
Yeah, the big. and
in a little bit, if that landscaping is not kept trim, you're not gonna see it at all.
Yeah,
All that's been taken out. There's none of that.
That's not there now, but it was replanted and it all died. It's gonna go back to that as a screen. To
So-
the, Upton Housing Authority parking area.
but if you see, so it looks like you're gonna make it a little bit wider and shorter for that top sign, because you can see a lot of wasted space on that. But see the space right under the word prime? That would be, I would think, a really good location. Especially you've got a certain height, you're already allowed that height.
Yeah, because on the canopy, it's above 10 feet, right? Which is above what we can do by special permit, I think. All right.
On pole signs, but you might be right, generally. I just remember specifically on pole signs, it's the 10-foot maximum, I believe.
Yeah.
But you've got to, even if that sign wasn't legal under today's rules, it's pre-existing non-conforming. And we'd be allowed to as long as we make it less non-conforming, which is with what you're doing when you reduce your footage, then it kind of, we're given more rights to make things less non-conforming.
Okay, well, I mean, the other option for us to do is just take the price sign that's there now and just change it out for a LED sign. Then there would be no change to the square footage at all.
That's it. I was just expressing my personal.
Yeah, I'm just
Make
mentioning.
the decision. Mike, what do you think? You're quiet down there.
I'm thinking that illuminated signs would probably serve the, your customers best, but it's gonna interfere with somebody's life.
Yeah, we certainly don't want to be annoying to any of the neighbors, so I understand that concern.
In your, yeah, and to be clear, in your shoes, I'd be asking exactly what you're asking. Like that's,
Yeah.
for a business, I would want that too. So I guess it's just weighing that.
Yeah. And people in town want to know what's going to be going on. I think every one of us looks at it.
I mean, that's really what our business model is. We try to provide quality gas at the lowest price wherever we are. So that, hopefully people recognize that. And that's really what we're driving. Is the price is really our big thing.
Through the chair, and for Mike Antonellis, Director of Land Use and Inspection Services. Eric, you might be right if you were to take a really strict reading of the bylaw. It says, signs affixed to an establishment building shall not, gives the parameters for the total square footage that you can achieve for a sign affixed to a establishment building. And B, subsection B is the standing signs, which I was referring to, which gives the 10-foot maximum. This board would have to make a determination that the canopy is the establishment building to allow for that. So it makes sense for kind of what you're talking about, working with what is within the parameters of what is existing, pre-existing non-conforming.
Is there any problem with the sign that's facing this side of the canopy? Up on the canopy, the LED? Because you're looking at it on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any, other than the housing authority buildings, I don't think there are other residences facing,
So,
that would get you towards the.
Yeah, that may be a great compromise.
Yeah.
so if we put an LED on this side only, not on the other side, and the primer not lit up on either side, we have this sign here made smaller and put another LED underneath it, so you can see the price when you're coming from your side. But it would be on, you can't see it on the up above, but you can see it on the pole. Then if the landscaping grows back, I'm not as concerned about it because we'll still have the one that's on the canopy.
Yeah, I like that. How do you feel about that, Bob?
I think that's it. Feel confident. My biggest hangup is just the 24 hours. And, from the 10 o'clock to 7 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning, that sign is lit
I
brightly and the
had-
distraction to the neighborhood, people that,
we don't want to,
that's my biggest concern.
I will say, there were twice in my life where I was panicked at like 1:32, and I needed gas, and I had a very hard time finding it. There was
Yeah, I have no problem with it being open 24 hours a day. It's
Just keep the lights dim.
Yeah. Well, especially if we can, like, not even have the one on your side.
Yeah.
And I think that would also help you too.
Yes, sir.
So I think that was a great compromise that you offered.
Still would just be concerned that like if that's the stuff on the pole, the prices on the pole, making there be some kind of like not too bright. Like,
Yeah.
Can it be dimmable or just in case when they get powered on, it's like, holy crap.
Well, I think you
big.
can make that a condition that, at some point, and I know in the past, board members have, especially like when we're going up on Ridge Street, we have gone up there, the individual members have to go separate. Get close to the meeting, and we all gone up to Ridge Street, look there. But they can put that as a condition that, and generally the LEDs, they can be made so that they don't have to be facing.
5 years ago, that wasn't the case, but yeah, they're improving it constantly. So I'm pretty sure that would be available. I'm not 100% sure, but if that, we'd be glad to accept that condition.
Yeah, then that's a condition. And if it's an issue, we'll come back and revisit it. But I don't think it will be at this point, because I know they're very tunable. And you can even get the colors of your LED. You can start with one color, just change the knob, and it gives a different one.
Yeah, I think for the durability of the signs, these signs are not built the same way. A phone display or
Yeah.
LEDs that you have in your house that you can get from
Yeah.
GE or whatever. They're built a little more rugged, a little more military grade. So for that, there's a lot less options. But I'm pretty sure we can go ahead and work on dimming them, especially the ones that are facing you. And the same thing on the prime sign itself, because when we illuminate that in the old days,
Yeah.
everything was fluorescent too.
Yeah.
But now it's all LED strip, and those would be able to have the same. Those are a lot more controllable because that's something that the sign manufacturer.
I think one of the requests that I personally would say is, again, I'm not speaking for the board, is that one of you two come up and look at it and, have an honest opinion. Sure, we'll get back to you guys. And we'll revisit, we'll put it in as a condition. If it's an issue, come back and we'll probably just have a conversation, or Mike can take care of it. Just say, turn it down.
Okay.
But I also want to, applaud you guys. You've made a huge difference on that facility. It was trashed and it was an eyesore. I mean, you have a tarp across the front. Days that were empty. So, I don't want to say we want to reward good behavior, but it's like you've taken a snub and turned it into something a lot nicer.
That's great.
Yeah. So, all right. Eric, I'm going to give it to you to make a motion.
So are we asking for them to resubmit an updated plan? Is that
I can
correct?
certainly
Yeah.
submit an update plan.
Yeah, so I think it's a motion to continue then.
Okay.
They submit the updated plan and we'll,
Well,
is that,
I'd like if you could possibly make it a vote. And we will accept whatever conditions you put on it. And then have an updated plan that would be for staff to make sure the.
It meets requirements.
Yes.
you comfortable with that?
No, sorry. I would like for the board to receive updated plans so that they are voting on something that they're looking at.
Yeah, I just hate to delay it a month.
I understand, and then typically I'm amenable to those sorts of things, but I think the plan is gonna change so much from what was submitted. If it was minor things, yeah, I'd be very comfortable with it. But if the plan is changing, really, it should come before the board
I'm
again.
fine with that.
And for the public to have a chance to comment is most importantly.
But it's not a no. It's just a process thing, and I trust these guys. What's it? Right, so why don't you need a motion for that?
So I will move that we continue this hearing until our next meeting on December,
Hold on,
what's that?
18th, yep.
December 18th.
And second,
All in favor?
Bob Moon's eye.
Bill Andrews, aye.
Eric Russell, aye.
Bob Butler, eye.
There we go. It's unanimous. And thank you for your willingness to compromise. Thank you guys for coming out, because it makes it better when you guys come out.
Yeah.
And we get something that's more palpable to you than anything. And your records made is basic transformational. Yeah, that was in rough shape. You did it, whoever did it.
Yeah, we're not us, but we are benefiting.
Yes.
Doing some stuff in the back, if you notice.
And it wasn't cheap. What gets me is the one side roof that's like 4 houses come to you that they just finalled over the one side roof. Yeah. It might be absolutely gorgeous like yours is. Yeah. But this, anyways, thank you guys very much. Thank you very much, sir. All right, so let's sign that. Thank you to all of you guys if you have comments on that.
Thank you very much. Have a nice,
Yeah.
have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, we're here for, next meeting is a variant request for 49 West Main Street. Applicant April and Joseph Drew proposed to create an additional building lot.
Yeah.
Just see something else.
I mean, I don't remember. But I do have my green cards.
Thank you very much.
There. You want to start us off, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Yeah, this is interesting.
So good evening, my name's Peter Lavoy. I work with DNL Design Group. Here tonight representing April and Joe Drew. They're right there. So the existing lot is located at 49 West Main Street. So West Main Street, if you look at the plan, the way Mike has it, it's on the right side, which is Route 140. And their current home is right adjacent to West Main Street. Their septic system is in the front yard and they have a well in the backyard. So the existing lot is roughly, what do you call it? The existing lot is roughly 62,000 square feet. And as you can see, the topography goes up and down quite a bit. There are some grade changes on the lot. Also, along Old Grafton Road, you can see where it drops off pretty quick. There is a lot of ledge on the lot. The lot is unique. It has frontage on Old Grafton Road, and it also has frontage on West Main Street. So the existing house currently has 4 generations in it. So we have the parents, April and Joe, and then we have her daughter and her family also living in the house, and they have a little boy, and then they have the 2 mothers living with them. So you have 4 generations living in one house, with 1 septic, 1 well. So what they would like to do is to subdivide the lot so it would be affordable for their daughter to move on the Old Grafton side. So there would be a subdivide basically through the middle of the lot, and you would have a 30,000 square foot lot on the right and a 32,000 square foot lot on the left. So the new lot would have its own well. It would meet the setbacks to the property line, the house. The new septic, which would be located in the back near an existing shed. We have done preliminary testing on the lot, so we know that location is good for the septic system. And then that septic system meets the requirements for their existing well on their existing house. So by doing this, they now have a place to separate 1 generation from the other 2. And then they would have 2 septics that would meet all the requirements for Title V. And they would have 2 wells, so they wouldn't be overburdening their existing leach field and their existing well. So because of this, we're requesting a couple variances. So each lot would need a variance for frontage because they both basically have 149 feet, and the requirement is I think it's 180. 180. Both lots would also need a variance for area because the requirement is 40,000, and like I said, 1 lot is 30, the other lot is 32. There are similar lots like this lot on the street down the road. I think 18 Old Grafton is basically the similar size, and I think another one was 18 and 39 West Street is similar size. If you look at the overall,
I do have a copy of it here, but if you look at the Mass GIS, you can see that Old Grafton Road and West Main Street, see how you have a double road there? And a lot of the lots were divided. Like 30, 40, 30 Old Grafton, 28 Old Grafton, but they have the required size. But then if you go down to, I want to say, 18 Old Grafton, that's roughly the same size as the lot that we're proposing on Old Grafton, it's 0.63. And then if you look at the other one, I think it was 39 West Street. And you have 0 too, but I think that hasn't been filled on yet, but. So we are it's gonna just be a 2-bedroom, single-family house. Because they are limited in number of bedrooms because of the area size, because you have a well and a septic. So, we have to meet Title V requirements. So we would do that through the Board of Health. I think that's basically my presentation.
The new house is gonna be 2 bedrooms.
I think it is. I mean, it all depends on the area. You need 10,000 square feet per bedroom. Right now, you could do 2, 3 bedrooms, but I don't know regarding the number of people that would live in 49 with respect to the number of people that would live in the new lot. So between that, you could have 6 bedrooms on that lot. So if there are 4, there are 4 adults living on 49, then you could have 4-bedroom, which I think the system is designed that way on 49, and then you could have a 2-bedroom in the back. So as long as we don't go over the number of bedrooms, the Board of Health would be good with that.
So Mike, this is a pre-existing non-conforming for lot frontage anyways, isn't it? Because it doesn't count frontage.
Correct.
Yeah, you're.
So this is
So it would need a variance for.
One, I guess we need a variance for the area and 1 frontage. You are correct.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's a tough one. Frontage is not something we usually play with at all. Area has, especially but we have made exceptions in the past when you have these older non-conforming lots.
Mhm.
Have you guys looked at this for the new ADU lot? Because then you would only need a variance of square footage.
They already have that attached.
We have an in-law attached on the other house.
Oh.
Because we have my
Is that-
mother,
that's your-
we have my mother living there, his mother lives there, we're there, and then my daughter.
So you already-
So there's, we just don't want to have
Yeah.
much.
You got something? You got a lot?
We have a lot.
My mother's been there 30 years. Her mother's been over 10.
Yeah. His mother was.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
His
I'm talking
mother-
my mom.
It's all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, Preston, baby, this shows the other babies.
I just want to keep the whole thing together. So that's what it is.
Any neighbors?
Yeah.
Couple neighbors, just, Eric wants to hear you, and I compare, what do you got, what are your thoughts on it?
Sure. So, I'm Luke French, though. I'm across the street from them, 39 Old Grafton, so basically from the edge of my house. So, apologies because we're new to zoning and variances. So we've got a lot to kind of catch up on over the last couple of weeks since we learned about this. I think we have concerns about the location of the house for a number of reasons. I mean, I had a kind of a written thing, but this is obviously a little more informal. I think the issue is one of the reasons we moved to Upton and picked the house that we did is that we can't see any of our neighbors currently from our house. Currently it's winter, so I can kind of see Lauren's chicken coop and I can see the corner of UV's house, barely. But a selling point of our lot and our house was seclusion and privacy. And this would be putting a house basically right across the street from us. Which is a little tough for us. And speaking with our realtor, it may affect who the future people that may want to purchase our house are and our resale value. So that's been a concern of ours. We also just running through the application and kind of the standards there are for zoning variances. We were a little, I guess, confused on some of the items. The hardship item, which we totally understand, we want you guys to have the space that you need. The hardship piece, as it's written in the instructional handbook for applying for a variance, talks about the hardship not just applying to the current owners, but applying to future owners of the property. And I don't think I understand how that the current issue would apply to anybody in the future. And again, understanding that, you know, the people there need space and families grow, but subdividing a lot that's already smaller than many of the lots in the area into two even smaller lots doesn't feel like the logical solution to that problem. There's also a number of other issues that we have, you know, you guys probably know the backyard well. The drainage is really poor in that area. Our house is typically during the summer just a walk in the front yard and really gnarly. And UV, who can speak to his house, has spent a significant sum of money fixing the drainage, which he's on the you're 30.
30, yeah.
Yeah, so 30 Old Grafton, so to the right, plan right. Yeah, I think our concerns really are, there's a number of issues like wetland, drainage.
The wetland directly beside where the proposed driveway is, and that I guess my concern would be, how is that gonna affect the water that already flows down the street? When we do have rain, and it doesn't affect me. I'm at 2 Fowler, and my backyard runs along Old Grafton there. I'm way up high, but I've seen where the water goes, and I'm just a little concerned, for my neighbors, but under their basement, but also that I walk my dog up there, and there's Turtle Rock is this big jutting stone that's causes a blind curve, and just with more.
It's right where
with
the
the water
property line
problem, I would
is
be
of
concerned.
39, like right across from where.
So it's
39
across,
is.
it's across the street.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a tough corner to begin with.
Turtle Rock is just above where you're looking.
Yeah, cursor is, yeah. So that's my house, just planned north of where you're looking now. Turtle Rock is just barely. north.
And you're up high, right?
We're up high, correct.
And all the water flows down into the
Yeah.
street, and to the left of your cursor is wetland that right now is going dry, but at times overflows.
And we haven't had a botanist go out there and look at it, and we used the Mass GIS and it didn't show any wetland, but I have noticed when I was out there testing that there was, you know, water that sits there, but I don't know if it's a wetland. It has to have plants and soils to be considered, but we haven't had a botanist look at that.
It's
But
sort of a catch basin for a lot of the water that flows around here.
There's through the chair, there's definitely wetlands across the road
Correct.
that I had noted, and I had a question as to whether or not that was gonna impact anything. I don't think it will, because obviously the proposed development would be happening on this side of the lot, far away from the buffer areas of these wetlands down on the south side of Main.
So things on the pond. If you go up, you see the pond up in the back, that's where it all ends up
Yeah,
eventually.
yeah, it ends up in basically our backyard, which runs along the pipeline.
Yeah.
so
So,
that pond runs down the,
you know,
it runs down the easement
Yes,
onto the street.
but directly across from Luke's house is is the area that across Old Grafton from Luke's house is the area that water kind of starts flipping down the street.
Is this how it goes on my cursors?
no, so
No.
it's actually, so this is my house here. This is UV's house right here. This is a really wet area and all of the water, so this is a high point here where this is the gas line.
Oh.
Everything basically runs down off of this. And then the house here would be kind of built on a high point as well. So I think one of the concerns for the group is that it's going to create some additional drainage issues. And UV, I mean, you can speak to your,
I live in 30 Old Grafton Road, and a couple of years ago, I had thousands of dollars worth of damages. The amount of water that came in was obscene, and I had to make some adjustments. And right now, it's working, but it feels like if it comes a little bit faster, a little bit more, it will overwhelm the system. And I can't afford tens of thousands of dollars again to try to fix
Yeah.
You know, and the insurance companies, of course, they don't count that it's groundwater. The town said there's nothing we can do, it's there before you.
Yeah.
So the system I had put in place is working, but any more water or if, even just cutting a few extra trees for the land, you know, that, even that alone can affect the amount of water coming.
I mean, we could do a drainage analysis and show that no increase of runoff would go out to the road, because we could always put an underground basin.
Yeah, just as runoff, you can't ever put, whatever water's coming off can come off, but no additional water can come off. That's kind of the rules that we play by. I think I'm speaking for, my biggest challenge is frontage and area.
Right, the smaller one.
You know, that's, it's tough with these non-conforming, pre-existing non-conformings. But we'd be making it more, at least one of them would be more non-conforming. The water actually can be engineered. I've seen a lot of really good solutions. I've been involved personally with some that have improved. Ironically, we improved it on so in the case where we put non-pervious, a pervious driveway in, and actually it helped solve my neighbor down the hill's water problem. But we had to put in a rain garden and things like that, and that we collected all the gutter water into a rain garden, and it can actually help, but I don't know. Bob, you've been quiet so far. What are your thoughts on my main concern is the area in frontage.
No, it's a similar concern. Also, the water is of a concern. Because we see more study on that issue, and
I guess,
don't want to adversely affect the surrounding neighbors. We can't do that.
What's
Say
that?
that again?
Is all this existing topography?
Yes, yeah. Some of it's existing and some of it's proposed. So you can see the tree line, see that limited tree line is shown on the plan. That would be the proposed. Currently, there is an existing cot path from Old Grafton to 49 along the bottom of the page. No, along the top of the page. So where that shed is and that other septic area, there is like a cot path that cuts through there. And then along the street, there is some cleared area, but most of the back is wooded. But you can see like the proposed grades are the numbers with the rectangles, and then you have, the slab, and we're not doing a full foundation because of ledge, so we're doing a split, so it's not in the ground, because we have done soil testing in that area, so we know how deep the ledge is, so we would put a foundation drain around that. We could put an underground basin in the front yard that could collect the driveway and the roof, and recharge that into the ground. So that would take it out of the equation. So we could show that there would be no increase in runoff towards 30 Old Grafton and towards the front of Old Grafton Road. I mean, it is an existing lot with the frontage, so 149 is what's there now, and I can't change that. And the area is similar to other lots in the neighborhood, and some of the lots are larger. So if you look down the street, as we saw, there were a number of lots that were the same size, roughly, with the same frontage, but those are pre-existing non-conforming lots, but it does fit in.
Yeah.
And we're putting in a smaller house, we're not trying to put in a big house, because we're trying to make it affordable for April's daughter and her family.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I bought a house in an area with a certain kind of zoning. I just assumed that that's how it's known. And that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, generally,
You know,
Generally, yeah, the answer is yes. Zoning boards of appeal are, think of it as a plumbing system. We're the pressure release point for when things, sometimes what was thought about in say 1950 when they wrote zoning. There are times when a change is allowed because frankly, things have
times are
changed.
changing.
The best example of this is the review law.
Right,
So there's multiple ways around this. If they propose a 3-bedroom addition on the current house, I don't even think they'd have to get a variance of any form at all. They'd need to update their septic system. But they'd still be allowed to put that big addition off the back of the house. So, I kind of have to look out, all of us have to mind is that there's more than one way that they could do this and be completely legal. And
right.
this is just their solution for doing it. If you did.
And I can see this works best for
them.
what works best for their family and,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking down the line, if somebody else, they're like, well, okay, they got to do that. I want to split my lot.
Which
That's where it starts to
Yeah.
make me feel like, well,
And that's why I said frontage
It's down.
at the very beginning. I said what? I said frontage is usually our biggest concern, and we have turned down lots of people because of frontage. But if they built a patio, a long skinny patio that was 4 feet wide and all the way to the back part of the lot, they put the addition on that, and it's part of the house. That'd be legal, right, Mike? So, so I'm not.
Crazy things happen.
splitting of the lot,
Exactly.
that's my curiosity. I don't understand. It doesn't fit the zoning.
That is a true statement. That's why we're at the CPA.
Okay.
And it doesn't, I do not make the decision. These guys make the decisions. But that's a tough decision. But this body is empowered to make exceptions to the rules, but there's even a check on us because people can appeal those decisions and take them to court. And cases where we don't allow, when we make variances to things like frontage, someone appealing that would have a very good chance of winning it. Because it is the zoning. He's my legal beagle.
Yeah, variances are. They're disfavored by the state. State law allows them, but they're strongly disfavored. So they're hard to.
Through the chairs, the gentleman with the saying, it's necessary to prove a hardship that's owing of circumstances to the land.
Right, so things like ledge would allow you, like say setbacks. If you had a gigantic rock in one place or.
That's
Yeah.
our house is very close to
Yeah,
the
or
because of that.
super steep
Right.
cliff or something like that. Those generally are allowed. That's an allowed, what do you want to call it, variance for, that's not a problem, that's setback.
Yeah, meets the statutory
Right.
requirements.
Financial doesn't meet the state standard. Family situations unfortunately doesn't meet the standard that allows us. We're only allowed to make exceptions under certain rules. But being someone who likes to get around the rules, you could achieve the same thing through other means.
There are situations where we grant variances that don't meet strictly the state's rules for variance. The neighbors are okay, but sometimes that comes about because you negotiated something and they're not going to take you to court. So when a variance comes in, the opinions of the neighbors are extremely important to us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. I think, again, personally, we're not interested in ruining what is, your family all in one space. For us, it's a tough pill to swallow because we bought a house for a reason and it's kind of taking one of the main features away for us. It's really tough. And I think we're open to discussing what other options you guys have that,
Yeah, and to your point, there are things that can be done. We can put in requirements that there's like 20 foot of particularly things like certain trees are very good, they're evergreen to block off. If you do a 20-foot wall of them, you're not gonna see anything through that. So if there are, I'm not saying the board will decide to do this, but there are ways that we would demand that everyone's individual.
Yeah.
But it's a tough one, guys. I'll be honest, it's a tough one because it's 149. What was the one on South Street? What were they looking for? 7 feet?
They needed 7 feet. That was a slightly different, just because they needed 7 feet variance just to qualify for then applying for a special permit for the large lot frontage reduction through the planning board.
Yeah.
So, but it was a frontage variance nonetheless.
Yeah, it was a frontage request for 7 feet, and then they adamant against it, so we listened to the neighbors, didn't grant it. Ironically, did they ever put that plan in for the multi? I would say they did. They did. Yeah, so it was a situation where the guy wanted to split a lot, and put it in one house, one more house, and the neighbors were adamant against it. It's like, well, if you don't, I can put a road in and put in 5 houses. And we turned it down because the neighbors said, don't do it.
Yeah.
And he turned around and put in the plan for 5. So,
He got ready for that plan, but he never submitted it. I think unfortunately his health took a turn, so it's not. Yeah.
go forward with it.
Can I ask one of the, and maybe this is kind of what Lauren was touching on, is about the kind of derogation of the kind of bylaws, right? Or like the relaxing of the laws. Is that a thing that commonly you see at the zoning board? I mean, is this a request that you guys get for subdivision of lots frequently to?
Usually not subdivision lots. Usually it's smaller requests, like putting a structure that, infringes a little bit.
Yes.
Sheds all the time. I guess it's a little bit setback.
This board hasn't seen a lot of these applications, but I've seen a ton of these applications.
Yeah, I think part of the reason we don't see it is because we're so strict on frontage.
I advise people, Bill, as I was telling you, ask for what they want.
Yeah.
And so if this is what the applicant, this is their dream scenario, it's worth them asking this board to consider it, which is what's before you today. To discuss something that's not necessarily before this board, but you've touched on it, which is the ADU law. And we could be, depending on the interests of the applicant and their resolve to pursue something on this land into the future, should this request not be granted. The ADU law that was passed in August is set to take effect in September. This town just adopted bylaw language to be congruent with that law. What we are currently waiting on is clarification from the state whether or not detached is intended to be captured under that new law. So as of right now, ADUs are allowed by right as of coming February 25, allowed by right across the entire state, 900 square feet or 50% of the gross floor of the existing structure, whichever is less. And you can apply for that through just the my office and get a building permit for it. You don't need to come here. You don't need to notify the neighbors.
You already have one.
They already have one. So
complex.
Can you get another one?
yes, and through a special permit, which would bring them back to this board to then deal with not the statutory hardship issue, but then to deal with the likely these issues about drainage will come up again, right? And that'd be the opportunity to address a lot of those things then as well.
And then the lot wouldn't be split, which is.
Still would have a structure there.
Yes.
I'm against the lot being split.
That's where I'm going with exactly, Peter, is,
So they can be detached?
no, I don't know yet.
I thought they could as long
The
as they
state
were.
hasn't come up. There's precedent. Cross review. On William Street, there is a detached. This is something we discussed in meetings multiple times, whether they can be attached or not attached. The statute we have is saying in town, under the old rules, was that they shouldn't be detached. We gave it variance for that case. But under the new rules, nobody knows yet. Is that, we're getting that clarification in February, aren't we?
Hopefully the state provides clarification in February. I sort of doubt that we're, yeah, hopefully before, but I honestly, I doubt. Because they kind of just kicked off that process. Yeah, yesterday, so.
So we don't know what's gonna happen on the ADU.
Regardless, so let's, assuming the scenario where the state says, we meant to say detached is allowed by right. And that therefore, that's what your bylaw needs to allow for, right? Assuming that scenario, for this specific case, they already have an ADU on the site, so the law also allows for one additional ADU by special permit, again, which would bring them back before this board to pursue that.
But the lot would not get divided.
I don't mean to.
They could still,
Yeah, I don't mean to describe that as a way, as speaking in favor of this current application. I'm just trying to introduce reality of the processes.
right, and the other reality is you could put a monstrous addition off the back of this house and wouldn't even need a special permit for anyone to be able to see it. Yeah. Yeah, and so that would be allowed too. And after the Bach, is it Bach? Bach? Yeah, Bernie, so after the Bach ruling, we used to limit the number of kitchens in the house to one, and when an ADU, when it used to be, had to be a relative and they passed away, you had to take the stove out. Well, he sued because he wanted a kitchen in his master bedroom suite. He won. He took it all the way to the Superior Court and won. Meaning that towns can no longer limit you to one kitchen in the house. So there are other ways around the same problem. But it might take either some patience to wait to February. Or some different creative solutions. But no matter what the solution is, you know you're gonna have to deal with the water issues. It's the right thing to do anyways. What do you guys think? Because right now, I think it sounds like from the tenor of the board, as looking at nod, you had yes or no. That I don't think at this point in time. Or, so let me explain why I'm doing this. If we vote against a proposal, it stops you from coming to us for 2 years. Okay, so if something looks a little iffy.
For variance.
For variance, a special permit or a different proposal changes a certain percentage. If you change the proposal, you can come back right away. But if it's the same thing, you can't come back for 2 years. So I always try to tell people is if it's looking a little iffy and not going to go through, either with prejudice, or you can ask us to continue this for 2 months till we get the clarification on the state on the AU law. Because I don't want to just slam the door in your face. You got an issue, you got to take good care of with your family. But there's more than one solution, and that's the other solutions might achieve your goals, but yet also answer their concerns. Because even if we granted you permission on the frontage issue, any one of these folks could appeal it to the court. And I would say, if you're my legal beagle, they would absolutely win. And you'd lose. Because frontage is something that the courts don't let us really play with. But I want you guys to be able to take care of your situation and help your family members the way you need to. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I don't know if you two want to talk.
Yeah, can we go talk?
Go talk for a minute. Because we want to help you out, but we want to make sure that if we send you to court, if they appeal, I don't want you to be lose for 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this board is not a policy board, but as Helena will attest to, I'm having this conversation almost daily.
Yeah.
With folks looking to accommodate their adult.
Yeah, it's huge. I'm saying I'm ahead of the wave with my AOD. So Bob, I don't know what I just did there. Yes. Yes.
We don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I want them to come up with another
Yeah,
solution.
I think.
The crazy thing is, they built a walkway, 1 foot wide, from their current house all the way to where they want their new house to be. They could build the new house back there. completely legally. I've seen crazy ones where, they have a
See people
thin,
do that with an attached, that's an.
I saw a whole housing development where they had a thin strip of roof between the two. It was one unit, but it was actually two completely separate buildings, and there was a 20-foot piece of roof about this big between the two buildings.
Just a roof, not just a
Nothing else,
breezeway?
just the show. It wasn't even enough to be a breezeway. It was only like this wide.
Yeah.
So the,
You had Governor's Landing connect theirs through a foundation wall.
yeah,
They have to
it's a 10-inch foundation wall, so it's in the ground anyways. So there's some crazy stuff out there that could happen. Most likely, if I was gonna bet, it was a big addition back.
Yeah,
That's,
there are creative architectural solutions.
there are lots of creative.
I guess one other concern I have for a question, which I don't know if any, you guys, people know the answer, but it's a massive boulder. I mean, we're really cute house on top, but wouldn't they have to blast something, and would blasting affect the houses around it?
Generally, they don't blast anymore, ever.
They break it up.
They break it up to the hammer or they drill in and then they put, it's like a hydraulic thing around the circle and pops it apart. It's the craziest thing. What say you folks?
We're gonna withdraw without prejudice. I think that's probably the best thing to do.
Okay, and that allows you to come right back in. Okay, so
I can express one more concern I had if they come back. I noticed from the pictures, the proposed new septic tank will be right where, I call it the river, is coming towards my house.
Yep.
Which I think potentially could increase.
It's between that house and my house.
It would
So
be
it's different than the
basically
pictures that I saw online. Because I saw,
My
it looks
septic,
like right, it's next to my driveway on the other side.
it's gonna sound funny, your septic tank doesn't have a drop. It's a
Septic tanks in the back.
Right, but I'm saying, when it overflows, you could easily bring not just water. but
It's behind your house. It would be more in my backyard. It would be past your house.
you know, where I have the boat, if you look out, it's that big round thing,
It's
it's
right
in that
there.
area.
So
So it would be behind.
So it might be different than what I saw online. I saw like where my driveway, where I saw on the other side, I saw the proposed septic tank.
So it's right there.
It's right
Yeah.
there.
Well, that's the leach field
Oh,
right
sorry.
there. Septic tank's right in the back, right there.
Right there.
There's no.
So I see the water is going that way.
Yeah, it's,
Well, you're on the top of a hill, so it's going
it's gonna go down.
in 4 different
Right.
directions.
The Board of Health does not allow, you can't have shit flowing down the hill, no expense.
Yeah, and that septic tank is.
You're just not allowed to do that.
I was trying to use, fecal matter, but yeah, that's what I meant. I am downhill, so I do know water will want to go there. And if the current situation, it's stable. Like I haven't had water in my house in a couple of years after having 15 or 16 times water in the house.
Yeah, we had two.
And I'm hoping not to change that.
We had 200-year storms. In a week, 2 storms. So your concerns are valid. I will say, having worked this a lot of time, good engineering can use the water from the office. Like it actually. If you got waters coming down, it's all ledge, it's just gonna run down the ledge. If you collect it and do an infiltration system, you can reduce.
No, I appreciate, the understanding and I appreciate, the hardship. I just don't want it to become my hardship or
Absolutely.
my house is underwater. And I love this
Yeah.
town and stick around.
I'm glad you do.
I've been here 58 years, I love it too.
We're like, we have 6 generations that live in town. My grandfather was one of the first police officers in town. My family grew up on Glen Ave, my mother's family. My mother's an item. She's been here forever. So we want to keep our family in town. They want to stay in town.
I think,
So
I think there are some solutions that can do, this was just a big ask because of, and frontage area. Like, we've varied a little bit on area, but frontage is a really tough one, because we don't, if we set the precedent that you could just not do frontage, that's like the one, it's like I was only given one rule when we came in here, and that was probably it.
I think our biggest thing was when we were looking at it is looking to the fact that we're not imposing or impeding on our property or someone else's. We're coming off completely different road. We're not trying to say, we're gonna put a driveway up next to our house or anything like that. It's basically a divided area, and when you looked at everything versus us versus the neighbors down, it looked very normal to place something there. And Family King is close, but you can only be so close for so long. And we've been close for a long time, and we
I
needed
had my mother-in-law living with me for about 3 months last year.
30 years.
I'm surprised both of us survived. But we'll, you know, we look forward to seeing when you come back for something.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you heard some of the different ideas. I'm sure you can find something that works, and we want something that's economic.
How does it work with them revise, like, will we receive another, well,
Yeah, when they withdraw it, they like starting fresh.
okay.
So
So
I guess,
assuming the
That they
new
meet.
plan needs a special permit or something through this board, you will get notification. If they're doing something that just requires a building permit, you will not receive.
Correct, that's understandable, yeah.
folks, thank you
for
very
the-
much. Thank you. Neighbors, thank you too.
Thank you.
For being on concern. I like the fact that you're concerned about water. We've had a lot.
For the folks on the call, there was a request to withdraw the application. So, but the board needs to vote on that. Request.
Motion, sir?
Motion is to accept original, engine, without prejudice.
Yes.
I can throw that. Bob,
That's the easy question. You're all here, you can.
Oh.
No.
Appreciate the clarity and.
Yeah, thanks for answering.
Very.
The application.
Interesting. You gotta go up to Boylston to see those roofs that are.
It's coming down the road.
I'll look for it.
It's the craziest thing. You're like.
This is that, the section across the street from us, Eddie Works, it's all falling down. That's horrible there. I
Yeah,
would
they
like
think that was
that
on the left scale.
Oh, it wouldn't be- it's-
It's the only one that's different. It's only measured out, and it's supposed to be so many feet, and it was like 3 inches short of this, and again.
Oh, my.
And we're like, the rock could have moved that at the dot on it, you know, we leave that.
Yeah.
All right, so we have is there anyone here from Milford Street?
Now you have a letter, which I tried to get clarity from the applicant. I would have preferred to include language that says request to withdraw without prejudice. It's not exactly what this letter says. So.
All right, so let's.
The one that they submit a revised plan with the flat roof.
Yes.
Which I think looks ugly.
Looks
Yeah, look-
horrible.
You know what?
The neighbors are gonna be so.
But you know what? I hate to say it, it's their fault.
It's what they asked for,
Yeah, that's what the neighbors asked for.
but it looks
Yeah.
horrible.
But you,
Am I right?
if it's under 25 feet,
Yeah,
Not
You know what?
nice.
they're not gonna like the way that looks up on the hill, especially being elevated like that.
you know what? And it's say, that's what they asked for.
I know,
We gave it to them.
Yeah.
They can't complain. And, you know, I don't hold it against them because. I mean, that zone
we did what we
could
had.
could have a 50-foot
Yeah.
roof. It could have a 50-foot roof with a special permit. We don't want to give them 5 feet to get to 30, so they're flat. I mean, what? You'll be fine.
I didn't think you could do that in New England. I didn't think
You
you could
can.
flat roofs.
You can look at half the high schools.
Oh, it's really,
I did rubber roof under my screen porch.
oh,
So if you come to my house, you go on the screen, so you wouldn't think it's, you know, you're not walking on rubber, you're walking on regular decking,
mhm.
but it just has a teeny bit of pink. And then the roof decking material lays right on it. You just have the same rubber on the bottom of the floor joists with the opposite pitch, and it makes your thing perfectly level. But you do have a rubber roof under your porch. I've done it on several buildings. It gives you more, like in my case here, it's more basement space for a wood shop. It's one in Rhode Island. It needs for a bigger pitch. Anyways, so how do we consider this, Mike? Do we just say that this is nothing sandwich? Do we say?
Do we have to say
Do
anything?
we have to say?
Yeah, you have to either deny it or continue it.
I was gonna say, if they continue and we get the right verbiage.
Yeah, continues to escalate the request.
So who are they? I don't understand if they're gonna go with a 25-foot ceiling roof, why is there even anything with us anymore?
There isn't. Yeah.
No, it's not with.
I would just.
Turning them.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought he had to withdraw.
So you do have to withdraw.
Yeah, he has to withdraw the original application because it
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
Which is what he's trying to do now.
I would suggest just a motion to accept the request to withdraw without prejudice and with interpreting this as that, even though unfortunately they didn't use that exact language.
We could get the right language tomorrow, just not.
Is he even an actual applicant or is it his?
He's a representative.
I mean, the nasty side of me says we should turn it down and not use the word, but I'm not gonna be mean.
I mean, you know, you could.
I don't wanna be mean,
Is Rod on the call? Anybody from 33 Milford on the call?
Well, we put it into the meeting minutes that where it's Texas is they request to withdraw.
Yeah, it's jumped off. So
Without prejudice. Can we just say that we're assuming that that's what this letter means?
Yes, go. Is that this, could we get called on the carpet for that?
The question is, if that's not.
Right.
What's not the hearing, is it a constructive?
yeah.
Well, if you pull up my
I don't
email
know
to
what I
him,
don't know what to do in this case.
maybe that, so I emailed him and said, can you please send us a request to withdraw your application? Could that be the other piece to this puzzle? That was his response, yes. He
Yeah.
attached that letter to my email, I believe.
Yeah,
I can't get on.
I don't see your original email to
Okay.
him.
So there, we will never be appealing against our situation.
It was
What was it? Something-
it was a special permit, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, special.
special permit.
Yeah,
So they're not appealing the decision. So they're accepting
they're accepting what we,
so we've already done it and they're saying they're accepting it.
yeah.
So I don't think
So I
so.
thought we-
Because they filed for a continuance at the last meeting because they weren't sure if they were gonna change the height or what they were gonna do.
Can we just make a motion and say, we've received your letter and we respectfully accept that you will not be appealing the decision. Just leave it at that and leave it kind of like hanging.
So what's he saying? He says-
Whether we should reject the letter and say we need a new language that they're withdrawing
Yeah,
without prejudice.
but if we can't.
But I wouldn't
continue-
do that because we're likely at the end of the line as far as timelines, so I would,
I think we need to deny it.
yeah, that'd probably be the best I mean, I don't think they are going to file with the town clerk to say that there's a constructive grant,
But you know what, if we deny it,
yeah.
they could cut, if they want to come back,
Yeah.
I think that's the safest thing
To deny it.
is to
Yes,
deny their
absolutely.
legitimacy. And if they make significant changes, which flattening roof certainly would be,
Yeah.
then they could come back anyways.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna lose. I feel we're not gonna screw them that way, but we
Yeah.
are acknowledging where we are.
We need to cover us.
So every time we get into this tricky situation, I got a great solution to it. It's like, Eric, I need a motion. And he's smarter than I am on these things, and he'll give us a
My
motion.
suggestion to the seconds.
There we go.
I'm gonna move that we deny the application for a special permit on 33 Milford Street.
Okay,
I second that.
second. Okay,
Bob, I'll be aye.
Eric Russell, I.
Bill Amesay.
Michael Kilgore.
Here we go. Sorry.
I did send them an email this week asking for that clarification.
Because you denied it now, that means they have to, at the next meeting, we resubmit a new letter? Or what just, or it's over with?
No, I mean, we have to.
Okay,
We almost have to treat it as approval in the sense that we gotta develop a decision document.
Okay. Okay.
But it's negatory.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so thank you.
We need to approve meeting minutes.
Meeting minutes. Yep, we have them in there from October and from August.
Is the board will have a couple of dead minutes and I can.
No, it's coming soon. Days.
I have a correction on the October minutes on the 8 Plain Street. I do, yeah, you got in there, accused himself, but I'm listed.
Okay.
Which,
That should be,
which minutes? Was
Yeah.
that October? Thank you.
there should be a 4-0.
You got it.
Scratch one.
October, you said?
Yeah, October 16th.
Let's see.
Oh,
I printed them.
Sorry, sorry, I go look digital first. Yeah, no, it's gonna be good, it's gonna be good. Things gonna calm down, but my understanding is the land across from,
Email.
the gas station.
Oh, okay.
To new get to gas station. What's the gas station?
Imperial?
Oh, the month.
Imperial.
Yeah.
So it could be very interesting when he puts it there, because that's in the new zoning district. And that could be pretty much anything. And the whole 2 years safe harbor is gonna be a joke because the whole time, that, I don't wanna say it goes by fast. It's by fast.
So we'll have a affordable application on,
The day after that.
yeah, 2 years and 1 day.
Yeah, and you know, that's good. And I don't get upset with the rules that we play by, people follow them.
I was even talking to the neighbor not far from 49 West Main. Because there's that 27 acres on Old Grafton, Mechanic and West Main. That there's surveying going over there. Like, nobody's approached me about putting like a 40B or something like that, but. I mean, it's right on 140 with access to 140 and it's 27 acres.
And we've gotten
Yeah.
multiple calls asking what's going on.
I wouldn't be shocked.
As I say, our monopoly board plays by a set of rules. I'm not gonna be upset if someone reads them and follows them.
Mhm.
The only thing that's sure is change.
If people hate 40Bs, they need to be participating in the planning for housing in town.
Get ahead of the curve.
Well,
Right.
exactly. It's,
So,
plan for it, don't for the.
that's right.
For
Is
the project
the,
you hate.
is the conservation gonna allow housing on part of that Pratt Hill land
Pratt Hill Land, what are you talking about?
up behind the liquor store?
Oh, no, I mean, that's, we need, what do we need? We need like a legislative action of some kind
Oh,
to move the conservation easements on that, yeah.
Yeah,
But if we could get to 10%, that would stop the 40Bs.
I mean, for sure, there's interest to pursue that land for that. It was called out in the housing production plan.
Yeah.
It makes sense given the location and access to Hopkinton Road and for all those things. Obviously, I think there'd be a large amount of pushback regardless from neighbors, but also there's that hiccup of the town really needs to pursue removing that conservation restriction if ever anything's gonna happen there, so.
I don't see the town.
so that's chapter 97, man.
Is it? I'm not sure.
How close are we
probably
to
is.
10%?
It must be if we need.
It's like what?
Yeah, you're probably right.
Like, we, what, 6.6%?
Yeah, we're like 6.8,
6.8.
with the Logosa project, that's gonna get us to like 8 point something.
What's crazy is they had that bylaw before Governor's Landing went in. That's 100, if it was 10% of that 180
Hmm.
units, that would have been 18 more units.
Yeah.
That would have pushed us, if that bylaw had been in when we approved Governor's Landing, it probably would push us close to the average of 10.
You'd be closer, but you wouldn't be at 10.
It'd be close though.
You're also gonna be back down to 6% whenever they come out with the new numbers for it.
Oh, because of because of,
Because of housing production since 2020.
yeah. Yeah. It's a challenge.
No, excuse me, not since 2020, because we're using 2010 numbers still for that. Yeah, because nobody trusts the 2020 numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I can totally understand that. That guy that lived down at 149 who came to speak for the 40B, I still want to find him and hug him. That, okay. Any other issues for the meeting? Mike, how about you make the motion this time?
I move that we accept the minutes from the meeting of August 21st and October 16th.
I second the change of the 8 Plain Street information.
Okay. And you're okay with that change? Okay.
Michael Gell, aye.
Tonight, Eric on the line.
Well, about the right.
There we go. Any other?
I don't think so. It's on the
I don't
agenda.
think so. Yeah, no, that's it.
That's it.
Here's the minutes and then other topics, but I don't think we.
Other topics.
Who wants the favorite motion of all?
Motion to adjourn.
There we go.
Second.
Yay.
About the right.
So what did I?
Who's that?
Gell, aye.
There we go.